We've always been on the academic calendar, meaning 2 weeks off at the Christmas and New Year's holiday. And my husband always liked to have all the decor packed up and put away before he had to go back to school because he taught middle school. And we're still on that schedule, even though neither he or myself is working outside of the home. We're still on that same schedule. So one of the things I'm going to be doing today is getting these things packed up into the bins so that he can get them put up in the attic. Well, it's the next day, and I got a pretty good start on undecorating my home. I've got most of my Christmas decor packed up, but I don't have all my regular decor back in place. And of course, we had to have dinner last night and yada, yada, yada. So today I'm going to get my dishwasher unloaded, wash a couple of things that I've got in the sink, and then I'm going to finish getting those things into the bins. I've got to take down the entryway, and I also need to make some soup for a family that's dealing with COVID. So I'm going to make some turkey noodle soup, so it's a good way to use up some of my leftover Christmas turkey, and drop that off. So let's get it started. This video is brought to you by Apron Diva. Pretty and practical, we believe that an apron can be a homemaker's best accessory. And speaking of, I was talking to some of my viewers the other day. We were doing a live stream, and they thought I was really dressed up. And I just happened to have on this red t-shirt dress and this apron. And I'm like, no, I'm not dressed up. It's just a t-shirt dress. But the apron dresses up the dress. So I can put on a perfectly plain dress and put on a pretty apron, and it looks like I'm dressed up. And that's one of the purposes of the apron. In addition to keeping you clean and protected, it can also make you a little bit dressy. And for my young homemakers who are out there, one of the things I find that is so helpful to me after a holiday to kind of get the house back to normal is just to get back on my routines. And the priority in that is the kitchen and the dishes. I make sure that I get my kitchen cleaned up and my dishes done. If I start there, I just feel so much more in control. Yesterday, I had done that before I got started with taking down the decor. And then again today, I'm getting started with my routine, getting my dishwasher unloaded, getting those put away. I'm going to wash out any dishes that might be in the sink from breakfast, and then I'll get started working on the decor. Now this is a wreath holder. It's 36 inches wide, and I don't have any wreaths that are that big. Plus it might be a little heavy because again, we're putting this stuff up in the attic and the hubby's got to climb up the steps and I got to hand things up to him. So he thought this would be a good place to put my pillows, my Christmas pillows. So I put the pillows in here and the Christmas stockings, and it's not as heavy. And now instead of having 2 or 3 different bags, I just have one. I hadn't planned to make soup today, but it turns out it's needed. So this is my turkey carcass. These are some onion peelings that I've been saving. I'm going to drop in a couple of bay leaves. Dropping the onion in with the skin on. And the skins have a lot of nutrients in them, so that's why it's important to keep the skins on. Keep it in mind, I'm going to strain all of this out once the broth is ready. I've got some celery that's seen better days, so I'm going to give it a wash and then I'm going to drop it in the pot as well. And this is a good time to use the greens. And all of this is just flavoring for the broth. Flavoring and nutrition. Just adding a little black peppercorns and a little bit of thyme. I'm going to move this over to the stove before I fill it with water. I'm probably going to need a little more than this, probably about 10 or 12 cups. That's a pretty tall stock pot. That's 6 quarts of water, and I think I'm going to add one more 2-cup portion. Now my goal is to get this soup to the family by about 5 o'clock so they can have an early dinner or early supper, whatever it is you choose to call it. And I'll make some corn muffins to go along with those. I'll just use some Jiffy Mix, but I think I'll make the muffins in my little small muffin cups so that in case the little girl wants a muffin, it's small enough, it's just like little kid size, so she can have a small one. Then that way they don't go to waste. So that's part of what I'll be doing. So I'll get that started while this is coming to a boil. And I'm going to let this come to a boil and then just let it simmer for about 2 hours so that I can extract all of the goodness from it. And then I'll strain all of this out, just retaining the broth, and then I'll have the basis for my soup. So in case you were wondering why I put the water in those 2 empty muffin tins, if you don't fill up a cup, you just add a little bit of water in there, and that'll keep the tin sort of, I don't know, it keeps it even for some reason or another, and it just helps the things to bake evenly. My broth has been simmering for about 2 hours, so now I'm going to strain it out so that I can use it for the soup. I'll let that cook for about 10-12 minutes until the noodles are tender. Those are alphabet noodles, and I thought I would put just a few alphabet noodles in a little pot for the little person. Well, these muffins turned out pretty brown. I forgot about them, to tell you the truth. I tested one and it's fine. You can see the bottom of it's okay. I always put them in at 400, but when I'm cooking in these small tins, I cook them for a smaller amount of time. So keep that in mind. It's a good thing I grease the pans nicely. That keeps them from sticking. Yeah, I usually pay better attention than that. So I've got the turkey noodle soup done, and I'm going to get it boxed up and then have my husband drop it off for the family. I did put a little bit of soup in this dish here, and I put these little star-shaped noodles in it for the little girl that's there. I'm thinking she'll like that. And then these miniature muffins. So this should be helpful. It's ready to go. To see more homemaking inspiration, click here. In the meantime, this is Denise Jordan saying you are not done yet. Click on the link in the comment section below and check out another of my homemaking stories, and I will see you next time. Be sure to check us out at www.aprondiva.com.